When you buy a new car, you don't need a calculator to know that depreciation will set in as soon as you drive it off a dealer's forecourt. In fact, if you're buying a car on finance, then depreciation is an important factor, because the amount of money the car is worth at the end of the finance agreement determines how much you pay per month. In simple terms, depreciation is the amount of money that a car loses over its lifetime. Place new car depreciation in a graph, and the line will start at a high point and slowly fall over time. What you want is for the line to stay as high as possible for as long as possible, so that the amount of money you lose once you do come to sell is low. Unless you're buying a desirable classic or a limited run performance car from an established manufacturer, then the car you buy will suffer from depreciation at some level. It's just a fact of life, as a car that has been used by a previous owner isn't as attractive as a brand new one. Compare an SUV with a hatchback or a saloon from the same manufacturer on a like-for-like basis. If you're flush with cash, then a high-end sports car or supercar can also be considered, although if you're looking to buy one of these, then depreciation is unlikely to be a deciding factor when parting with your cash. Lamborghini Urus. It would have been fun if the slowest depreciating car in our list had also been the fastest accelerating, but although the Urus is the best at holding on to your money, it's not even the fastest Lamborghini in our list this year. With an average new price of £157,000, it's not the most expensive Lambo either, but even with an impressive 79% of the new price retained after 3 years, owners will be hit with a £33,200 loss after 3 years and 36,000 miles. Still, Lamborghini can be proud of its chart-topping result, and an SUV that so effectively combines wild styling, practicality and performance to cement its desirability on the used market. Toyota Land Cruiser. It may also be an SUV, but you'd struggle to find much else that the Toyota Land Cruiser shares with the Lamborghini Urus in first spot. Apart from an impressive reluctance to shed value after it's been driven out of the showroom, that is. The Toyota's legendary reliability, immense capability and all-round practicality mean used examples are in demand, and with retained value standing at 72.5% of the average £46,240 new price, owners are losing only £12,740 over 3 years. Interestingly, the strong depreciation performance comes in spite of the slew of more fashionable and less gritty off-roaders available today. The Land Cruiser feels a bit agricultural in comparison, but that clearly doesn't dent its appeal. Porsche Cayman. Porsche models typically do well when it comes to holding on to value, which is just as well given the list prices when new. That said, the Cayman is one of their least expensive models, with the average new price falling comfortably under £50,000. Because the average Cayman will hold on to 68.1% of its value, that means owners can expect to lose only £15,475 after 3 years and 36,000 miles. That said, although the Cayman is the entry-level Porsche coupe, as we point out in our review, it's certainly no poor man's choice. In fact, it's arguably one of the best and most engaging sports cars money can buy at any price, thanks to its genuinely exploitable performance. Porsche Cayenne. Underneath the skin, Porsche's highly successful Cayenne SUV shares its MLB platform with the Lamborghini Urus that tops this list. However, apart from the range-topping Cayenne Turbo, the Cayenne doesn't even get close to its VW Group-owned stablemate for ostentation, with Porsche preferring a more coolly reserved Germanic approach to style. With a more prosaic model range, the average price of a Porsche Cayenne isn't quite so stratospheric either, although most drivers would wince at £74,000. Still, with 67.9% of that investment value retained after 3 years/36,000 miles, the £24,000 you'll lose is pretty competitive. It's a compelling argument in favor of owning a Cayenne, in fact, in spite of the potentially high running and maintenance costs. Lotus Elise. Who would have thought the Lotus Elise would make it into a top 10 slowest depreciation list? The surprise MGH have been greater if the Elise and its sister car the Exige didn't already have form, with both making the top 10 when we last surveyed the market in 2020. The current Lotus Elise has been for sale for almost a decade, and while the basic formula has remained unchanged, its low sales volumes and high demand for used cars mean it has excellent residuals of 66.7%. An average price of £43,770 will see £14,595 lost over 3 years, which isn't much when compared to some of the supercars in the top 20 list. What's more, the Elise will deliver a fun drive every time you get behind the wheel, giving you less reason to worry about how much this little Lotus is costing you in the long run. Volkswagen T-ROC. VW models typically boast pretty good residual values, and with the SUV sector booming, it's no surprise the T-ROC is in demand. Originally mooted as the fun face of VW in a model aimed at younger than average VW buyers, in fact the T-ROC offers all the grown-up, quality feel of longer established products like the Golf, even though some of the cabin plastics have a slightly lower budget feel. Niggles aside, the T-ROC clearly hits the mark with the school run brigade, and VW's smallest SUV is proving as solid a performer in the used sector as it is when new. Residual values are 65.5% of the average £24,769 new price, which means depreciation is costing owners comfortably less than £3,000 per year. Porsche Boxster. Convertibles always sell well in the UK, but they're still relatively niche even when we're talking about sports models, which may be why the Boxster falls a few points behind the Cayman in the depreciation stakes. Like its Cayman sister model, the Boxster gained 4-cylinder power to boost efficiency but maintain performance. And while the purists decried the loss of the flat 6 soundtrack, it seems that buyers are still keen. A loss of 55.3% on an average range price of £50,236 means buyers will lose £22,511 over 3 years, which is around £2,400 more than you'll lose on a Cayman. But for some buyers that's a sacrifice worth making for the thrill of wind in the hair motoring that the Boxster offers to go with its fantastic handling. Range Rover Sport. Superb design, luxurious accommodation and superior performance on and off the road are all characteristics which help to make the Range Rover Sport so desirable. The premium off-roader doesn't come cheap, and some may be surprised to find the Sport model holds on to its value so well. We're talking about the facelifted model introduced in 2018 with an upgraded, long overdue, infotainment system and a svelte new headlamp treatment in the style of the smaller Velar introduced the year previously. The average Range Rover Sport list price is £76,263, and with a 64.1% residual value an owner could expect to lose £27,430 over the course of 3 years. Nissan GT-R. The Nissan GT-R Super Coupe has been in demand here since it first burst onto UK streets in 2009, at which point it was already a couple of years old. You could say Nissan has done little more than facelifted a couple of times in the intervening years, but that's doing the car a disservice as there's been a steady stream of updates, special editions and performance upgrades over the years that have kept fans of the car nicknamed Godzilla enthused. Prices have soared over the years too, from a starting point of £55,000 to today's average list price of £82,203. Luckily residual values have kept up, and in fact the GT-R has slightly improved its depreciation numbers from last year, when it was slightly outside the top 10. The new 62.1% residual value will see customers losing £31,203 after 3 years. If you enjoyed this video, kindly press the like button. Also don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, so that you don't miss out on videos like this. Thank you for watching.